Welcome to the Locked On Twins postcast. Twins fall 3-2 in Milwaukee. I'm in for Luke Inman, Lou Hennessy by my side, talking Twins for the next half hour. It's the postcast.
You are Locked On Twins postcast, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Glad you're with us this afternoon. Twins fall to 2-2 on the season, a 3-2 loss in Milwaukee that turned into a pitcher's duel. Twins record, which started at 2-0, now becomes 2-2 with a second consecutive loss. Really glad you joined us this afternoon, whether it's live or after the fact on Locked On Sports Minnesota's YouTube channel. Please subscribe, get all the postcasts, Twins, Vikings, Timberwolves, Gophers. It's all here. Usually it's with Luke Inman. He's got Wolves in about 1 hour from now. I'm filling in today on Twins. I'll be back with you tomorrow as well. And Lou Hennessy will be by my side. He's at Sweet Lou MN on X, and he writes for Zone Coverage. Lou, what's up, my man?
Hey, Sam. How we doing?
Hey, we're doing well. Twins not doing as well, particularly the offense, which was quiet again in a 3-2 loss. We'll get into Louie Varland's first start of the year against Jacob Junis. And the bullpen, which again looks sharp for the Twins, continues to be their strength, but they lose game one of this 2-game border battle series to Milwaukee in the Brewers home opener, 3-2. Lou, give me your headline from this one.
The offense is just still so sleepy. That's the only way to put it. There's a few big opportunities for them, whether that was a couple mistakes in the field on the Brewers end or, having a few guys on base that they just couldn't tag enough on. There's a couple sac flies, getting one in at a time, which was encouraging. But at the end of the day, it's just not enough to get through some really plus pitching that we saw from the Brewers as well.
Yeah, the Twins are now, I believe, 5 of 34 with runners in scoring position after an 0-for-5 effort today. And really, Lou, they had two chances. They had the bases loaded a couple of times, and they delivered a couple of sac flies and could not get the hit that they needed to get. They have one home run this year. It was hit by Royce Lewis in the first inning of the first game. So almost 4 full games without a home run for the Twins. Eventually, you assume that will turn. But this is, again, one of those effects of losing Royce Lewis, Lou, is that you don't have that clutch hitter. You don't have that home run power in a key spot in your lineup. And I think the Twins have felt the effects.
Sure, definitely. They're a team that definitely lives and dies by the long ball. And right now, let's just say they're not living exactly. So without Royce Lewis there, that big punch in the middle of the lineup, it takes them down just a half notch. And sometimes you end the game a half notch behind the other team. And that's kind of what we saw today.
Yeah, the Twins, their first 2 times through the lineup this year, have 3 runs in 4 games. They, touched up a beleaguered Kansas City bullpen a couple of times in that Kansas City series, but they really pitched their way to 2 wins against the Royals. But now it's the back end of the Twins pitching staff that is failing them. We'll see Chris Paddock tomorrow to get the full rotation one time through. But the offense is a concern, and it's another slow start for the Twins offense, which last year, Lou, I'm sure we all remember the complaints and the inability to drive runners in with the bases loaded, which technically they did today. Didn't get hits, but they got sac flies. So that's improvement, I guess. But 10 of their first 16 games last year scored 3 runs or less. So the sleepy offense, it's seemingly been a trend for this team really since the Bomba squad, where we felt like they leave a lot of meat on the bone.
Yeah, absolutely. And, give credit where credit's due to the Brewers pitching staff. They had a plan to kind of get the Twins chasing a little bit down and off the zone. And technically, I think you could say that's what the Twins are trying to do too, and the Brewers weren't biting. But just going back to the Twins offense there, in the 4th inning, they couldn't take advantage of a mistake from Jackson Chourio, the exciting young rookie in right field, who threw the ball over everybody to third base instead of getting into the cutoff man, and that let Correa get to second base. So we had the Twins had second and third, and they couldn't push enough off after that. Same thing in the 7th inning. They had to sac fly. They kind of went through what I like to call the line shift from the bench. Rocco brought in a few of the right-handed hitters there. And unfortunately, Kyle Farmer just kind of looked lost in that at bat. I thought that was a pretty critical point for the game and for the Twins.
Yeah, and then the other guy who pinch hit earlier and then got another key at bat, Margot, he hits into the double play in the 9th inning where the Twins might have had a rally started, run on first, nobody out. That turns into batting the minimum against Uribe in the 9th inning, and the Twins can't really mount much of a threat since they had the bases loaded in the 7th when they got that one run. They do score the final 2 runs of the game. They lose 3-2. They only muster 3 hits in this one. So a feeble offensive performance for the Twins, a disappointing outing to be sure. And there are a couple guys that you circled going into the year and you said they kind of need to improve. We're counting on young players' improvement. Matt Wallner, he's hitting 143. Willie Castro, he's hitting 091. So you've got a couple black holes in the lineup, and Edward Julian's your leadoff hitter. He's hitting 154. So it's not as if the young players that you assumed progress have made that progress yet. We're 4 games in. It's a very long season, but progress is never linear with young players, Lou. And that's probably one gamble this front office has taken, really relying upon their internal guys to take that next step.
Absolutely. It's some of these young guys, like you were talking about, Julian and Wallner, they're expecting big things, and they're prone to streaks as much as anybody else, especially for being young players. But you can't say that the team necessarily gave them much wiggle room. They put a lot of confidence in these young guys, and I'm sure they still do. But when you're seeing games like this, when it's hard to scratch one over, and like you cited, their batting averages, sub 200 for most of them, it's a tough recipe.
Let's talk pitching after this. Twins lose 3-2. We'll keep moving on. The Locked On Twins postcast. Presented today by Amazon Fire TV, your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies, TV episodes, free and live TV as well. Whether it's opening week for baseball, the college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. They recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, and that's all for free. And in this economy, if you can get TV and media for free, take that opportunity. Fire TV channels let you dive into all the games, all the highlights to keep up to date in the sports world. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me. Learn more. Visit Amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. That's Amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. All right, we went into this season with a lot of intrigue about the Twins pitching staff. They lose Sonny Gray, they lose Kenta Maeda, and we were concerned, I think, about the back end of this pitching rotation. And again, taking gambles on internal fixes, younger guys taking next steps. Well, Bailey Ober, he comes out in Game 3, gets rocked. Nine runs in an inning and a third against KC? Chalk it up to a clunker. Louie Varland, not that bad, but also not his sharpest today. 89 pitches, gives up 3 runs, 6 hits, walked a couple, struck out 4. And there were moments, Lou, where you're wide-eyed and you say, whoa, you just hit 98 on the gun. Are we really going to see him top out there this year? That's incredible. And the way that he struck some guys out with pitches right on the corners, you'd love to see it. But you also saw the Brewers barrel balls up. You saw them string hits together. And maybe not the best plan or location from Louie Varland at times in his start today. What'd you make of it?
Yeah, I think early on especially, I had questions about Varland coming into the season, this start being his first. That being, how is he going to use that awesome cutter that we saw in September and October of last year? Yes, the velocity gets a lot of the headlines for Varland in that really successful stretch of about 6 weeks that he had, because he was touching 99, 100 miles per hour. But really, that cutter was what got him so much success in the playoffs and in the weeks leading up to it. I have a friend that's in a National League baseball operations department who said that pitch in September was atop some of their models that they had league-wide. So I think that cutter is going to be an incredible tool for him, and I was really curious how it would transition into a rotation role where maybe he can't rely on that velocity, that triple-digit velocity. How would it play off of his fastball if he had to keep some in the tank, knowing that he had to get a starter's load worth of innings? But his four-seam command seemed pretty off today. We saw a lot of pitches that were non-competitive. They were way high or way outside, just easy takes for these batters. I think when he can refine that four-seamer and add his sinker that he's been working on with to go against right-handed hitters so that he can kind of jam them, I think he's in for a good combo then. And I think we saw flashes of that today, but he was lacking a put away pitch in a lot of 2-strike counts. And that really got his pitch count pretty high early on. And that's why he only lasted 4 innings. So overall, I saw some good flashes from him. I'm really encouraged. And I think that the Dodgers are going to be an incredible test for him his next time out. We'll see how that goes. But like I said, some flashes, but came up a little short today.
Yeah, let's remind folks about Varland's 2023 season. So he comes out of the gate. He has an unbelievable month of May where I think he had something like 5 of 7 or 6 of 7 quality starts. He was phenomenal. Then in June, something changes where he has 3 abysmal starts in a row, goes on the injured list, misses 3 months, comes back in a bullpen role, lights it up, and he was a key member of that bullpen going in to the postseason. Transitions to a starter, trying to keep that top-end velocity. And, you look at his baseball savant graphs, Lou. I don't know if you're into baseball savant, but there's a lot of red there from last season, a lot of good numbers. But he gets a lot of balls barreled against him. Hard hit rate, very poor. Exit velo, very poor. Like he does leave some out there for guys to hit. And you look at the home run by Yelich today. You look at a couple of those other hits in the second and third innings. He was exposing the baseball in the middle to high part of the zone where, you're going to get barreled up. A couple balls hit over 100 miles an hour on him today in 4 innings. And that's going to be the issue for him, is consistently locating. We've obviously seen him do it. We saw him do it today where he picked some really good spots, but doing it time after time after time, inning after inning after inning, not having those mental mistakes, that's going to be key for him going forward. And he did give the Twins a chance to win today. Like, damage control was all right. He wriggled out of a big situation in the second with the bases loaded, 4 consecutive hits against him, only gave up the 1 run. Gave up 2 in the third, probably could have been worse, and then a scoreless fourth. So not the end of the world. He didn't have an Ober who gave up like 9, but it wasn't the sharpest, and it wasn't also the worst for Louie Varland. But how about this bullpen, Lou? I mean, Twins bullpen through 4 games has been airtight. Today they hang 4 scoreless innings on the Brewers, who didn't hit in the 9th inning. But Jorge Alcala, I think, can be an asset for this bullpen. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think that he's an incredible option for them to have in the front end of that bullpen in some lower leverage situations to start out at least. I was a little surprised to see him go multiple innings today. Somebody who struggled with injuries the past couple of years. I didn't think that they would want to stretch it, especially early on, but he looked really good in that second inning of work. He seemed to refine his fastball control, and that slider was really nasty. He got a couple really big strikeouts with that. So he was very encouraging. And I hope that he can keep it up, and especially I hope he can stay healthy, because he could really be an option for them, especially a bullpen that's down a couple of their key members.
Yeah, Alcala, speaking of baseball savant, you look at his chart from the one season where he really pitched, 2021, and that's not anyone's favorite season in Twins lore. That was the COVID year. So again, didn't pitch like a full complement of games, but unbelievable numbers in 2021, if you look at the deeper analytics, and then 2 years basically injured. I think that's someone that you hope can stay healthy. And if they stay healthy, they can be a really key part of that bullpen. And so too can Jay Jackson, hopefully, the veteran who again was very good for the Twins as well. Twins get 4 scoreless innings from their bullpen in the 3-2 loss. Varland takes the loss. They only use 2 bullpen pitchers in the game, so they've got plenty of fresh arms for tomorrow afternoon. That includes, Griffin Jacks and the rest of the crew. So the pitching grade today, I'd probably give it like a B- if you take it all into account, maybe a B. I mean, the Twins hold the Brewers, a good offense, to 3 runs, and they had a chance to win this game.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. B minus, C plus, somewhere around there. I think especially Varland was a couple of really big pitches away from getting out of some of those jams that he found himself in. There was certainly a lot of hard contact against him, but there was also a couple of just kind of flailing, just some hits that were just kind of died in the shallow outfield. And those were part of those big rallies too. So, like I said, he was a couple of pitches away from getting out of those, but at the end of the day, it was the bullpen that really took it, raised my eyebrows a little bit.
Yeah. Let's wrap up some odds and ends, including Christian Vasquez with another dynamite defensive play and some clutch plate appearances. That's coming up next on the Locked On Twins postcast. We are brought to you today by FanDuel Sportsbook, America's #1 sportsbook. The sports calendar is loaded in the month of April. We all know this. And FanDuel is making it even more exciting to get in the action, whether that's NHL playoffs coming up, NBA playoffs, the Masters, MLB, so much more. New customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. $200 you can use to bet the tourney, MLB, NBA, NHL, future bets, so much more. So many options at FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make your first bet a big win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. How's it going? We got a live audience here in the Ekstrom household. Lou Hennessy, Sam Ekstrom on the Locked On Twins postcast. Odds and ends, Lou. Christian Vasquez threw another guy out at second base. Lou, your thoughts? Give me something.
Well, it sounds like you got a couple Vasquez fans in there with you. Vasquez, how it works with him. He was signed to this 3-year deal, and last year, it was disappointing. I think that he'd be the first to admit that. But I think he went into the offseason, did some work with Driveline, really kind of refined his swing, especially his bat speed. And we got to see that pay off a little bit today when he took a really veteran approach to that at bat in I believe it was the 7th inning, when he drove in a run with a sac fly to left field on just a really well hit ball. That's his job in that situation, is to hit it hard, hit it in the air, and get that runner home. So that's what he did. It was a really, like I said, a veteran approach from him, and they're going to really be leaning on him this year. And Rocco's not the kind of guy who likes to have a primary catcher and a backup catcher. It's going to be more of a time split. So he's going to get some really big opportunities here. And here's hoping that those improvements that he made in the offseason can start to pay off for them sooner rather than later.
Thanks for tap dancing there for me, Lou. I appreciate that. It's the magic of live television.
It's my pleasure.
Vasquez comes up with a couple big at bats early in the season, throwing a couple guys out at second base. They said today on the broadcast he's down in weight. He's a little more fit. And last year I thought was such a disappointment for him offensively. If they could get a little more from him at the dish, that would be a huge perk for this Twins team that, again, I'm not sure we fully knew whether he was going to be back with this group. This front office likes to trade its veterans occasionally if they feel like they have an entrenched starter or depth at a position, but he sticks around, and he is, I think, a defensive asset for this team. Any other odds and ends that kind of struck you in this one? Lou, I thought one note for me, the Brewers defense was not sharp necessarily. There were some misplays, missed cutoff men. The catcher missed a play there in the 7th inning, but I thought they were really timely, and I thought there were a couple sneaky picks at first by Bowers that if he doesn't make them, I want to say one was in maybe the 7th and one was in the 1st inning, the Twins could have put a crooked number on the board. Those were pretty big plays in the moment.
Yeah, the Brewers are a team that are very intriguing. I kind of could see them going either way heading into this year. They were pretty successful last year, but they have a couple new players in. They're putting a lot of stock in their young rookies who, for what it's worth, looked fantastic today. Churio and Dunn at third base there. He made an incredible diving play to nab Buxton when I think that, most knowing Buck, that would have been extra bases. That probably would have been his patented double down the left field line where he's doing the Buck truck as he's standing up on second base there. But the Brewers are an intriguing team. We saw them flash the leather a little bit. Some other just odds and ends that I was kind of taking note of during this game. I was curious as to the decision to have Vasquez catch for Varland. I kind of figured it would be Jeffers because Jeffers and Varland, you put take this with a grain of salt, but Varland's numbers are an awful lot better with Jeffers behind the dish as opposed to Vasquez. I'm pretty sure his ERA with Jeffers is somewhere under 3, and it's above 5 with Vasquez. Small sample size because Varland's a young player, but I also figured that it would have lined up better to have Jeffers start today, Vasquez tomorrow with Paddock, and then Jeffers back for the home opener on Thursday. Some other just notes and takeaways that I jotted down here. Correa and Buxton, I said the offense was sleepy, but both of them look to be in an encouraging spot, especially health-wise. Just the way that they're moving around, the way that they're presenting themselves at the plate. I didn't see so much wincing. I didn't see so much shaking things off, trying to get loose, where that was nagging them all year last year and for the last few years for Buxton. So it was encouraging to see them healthy. It was encouraging to see Buxton Dodge getting trucked by the brat mascot during the mascot race.
Can you imagine if Buxton had been maimed by a bratwurst?
You know what? I think that would be the ultimate sign that there's a curse. I'm not saying that there is one, but I think if you get nailed by the other team's mascot, what else are we waiting for here?
Oh my gosh. No, I do agree. We got Jeff in the comments saying the umpire was very disappointing today. I thought he was disappointing, but kind of balanced it out by being equally disappointing. And I thought there were a lot of really tough pitches. There were a lot of 2-strike counts where he had to call it, either 1 inch on or 1 inch off. I guess I don't have the tally on how many he whiffed on. I thought it was fairly even.
Yeah, it seemed like it was kind of going both ways. I want to say the broadcast said that this was this umpire's first game behind the plate at the major league level. He's a rookie umpire, but it went both ways. But that only does so much for an offense, especially an offense like the Twins that is scuffling. It's hard to get that approach there when you're expecting a pitch to be taken right on the corner because you saw that in the last inning. It's they definitely didn't do them any help. In some key moments, that's for sure.
Tomorrow, Twins and Brewers, noon Central start. Lou and I will be back on the Locked On Twins postcast to put a wrap on it. Luke Inman has Wolves duty the next 2 days. They've got the Rockets tonight, so stick with us here today. Locked On Sports Minnesota YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Get the Twins postcast. Get the Wolves postcast and everything in between. Lou, you can be found on Twitter at SweetLouMN. I think for the Twins postcast, should we spell your name Lew for Lou Ford, Sweet Lou?
Ooh,
we'll see. The day?
Maybe if Varland can find his way back on track, we'll regain our spot atop the throne of Lou's.
That'll redeem the LOU. That's right.
That's right.
Good stuff. You can find Lou Hennessy's work at zonecoverage.com. I'm Sam Ekstrom. Find me all over the place here at Locked On Sports Minnesota. Twins fall today 3-2 to the Brew Crew in Milwaukee. Their record's 2-2. We're back tomorrow on the Locked On Twins postcast.